I think we're talking about two slightly different things. When I'm talking about staying in the present moment, I'm talking about like that kind of daydreaming where we spend a lot of time. I mean, I don't even know where it is. It feels like it's in your head, but it really isn't. If you actually were to try to think a thought, like right now, let's all just think of a pink elephant. Like, where is that? I mean, it's not actually in our head, but it sort of feels that kind of da 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 mind that we spend a lot of time in. That's when we want to kind of come back to what am I we always want to come back to what am I doing now? But you're right that the past certainly informs the present, right? The future doesn't exist. Time and space don't exist. They don't exist. But we are that sum total of all that has happened to us. And that those traumas and those experiences are hardwired in our cells and the way our brain is formed and the way the chemistry that we have and the way we respond to things and all of that. So being aware and educated about that, that's where like what Juliana was talking about, like the therapy part comes in. Like that's all very, very important. So it's almost like we talk a lot about tools in your tool belt, and we've got a hammer and a screwdriver and, a mallet and, a wrench and all these different things and pliers. And so for different kinds of things, we need different tools. And like for really having insight into some, particularly for trauma, but in general, what drives our patterns and our reactivity and our responses and our chemistry. Sometimes therapy is a really good tool, but where does it actually function and manifest? It is in the present moment, right? So in this moment, some kind of, again, the meter represents like and dislike, but it also represents all external stimulus, right? So some cause and effect appears. A person, a place, a thing, a feeling, a memory, whatever it is. And that triggers something in us. But the only place we can actually work with it is in this moment. So sometimes if we have all that extra information to say, aha, I learned that because such and such happened before, that I tend to be trigger happy in this kind of setting, then let me take a breath and just feel that and take a pause before I do that same pattern I always do. Whereas if you're not informed about something like that, you might it's so deeply wired that we're just going to react that way, either by anger, by desire, by some sort of reactivity. So the past informs us. We're a product of it, I mean, we each have our age, the way our body is, informs this. Like I'm different from I was when I was 5. So many things are different about the way I behave and act and my body and everything. And for all of us, that's true. So that's all those years of being alive, right? But the place that we always do the work is just now. Okay? Because that's all we have. That's all we have is just now. Even if we remember something from before, it's happening now. Coming empty-handed, going empty-handed, that is human. When you're born, where do you come from? When you die, where do you go? Life is like a floating cloud that appears. Death is like a floating cloud that disappears. The floating cloud itself originally does not exist. Life and death, coming and going, are also like that. But there's one thing that always remains pure and clear, not dependent on life and death. Then what is that one pure and clear thing? That is Zen. That is all we have, not even dependent on life and death. That's just now. So it all comes back to over and over, no matter how you slice and dice it, no matter how you look at it from whatever angle, it's just now. Okay. The more information and education and meditation and, don't know mind we can bring to this moment, the better everyone's going to be, us and all beings. That's a more enlightened kind of response that we can, then do our bodhisattva action. We can be clear. And so it's only just going to get better and better and better, but it only happens now. Okay.